you get into Forex? What got you into it? Like, when did you start? What was that thing? 2013?
2013. It was 2013. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I was in college. I remember my dad telling me this guy that used to live by our neighborhood and walk around. He's like, stock market trader. He made all his money and he doesn't work. I'm like, how do I do that? What's the stock market? And then I I had that thought and I was like, man, I'm gonna look into the stock market. So I looked into the stock market. In Hawaii, we're waking up at 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. just to trade the stock market. It was demo. I never put actual money down. And then a friend that was interested into the stock market discovered Forex, foreign exchange market. And there were people making a lot of money. It's like the biggest market in the world. I'm like, how does no one know about the Forex market?
How much money is in the Forex market?
All I
Is-
know, it's the largest financial market in the world, and around like over $5 trillion
yeah.
is traded in a single day. So I mean, like in correlation, the New York Stock Exchange only trades $169 billion a day. So I mean, this is a massive market. It's the monster of all markets. It's essentially all the
Ooh.
currencies in the world. Yes.
So from the moment like your dad gave you that information, told you about the neighbor, and while you were in college, right? How long from that point to when you take your first trade? Like, what was the time span, and
Oh,
what
good
was running through
question.
your mind? Yeah.
I wanted to, like all new traders, we realized, oh man, I could make so much money. Less than 6 months for me to actually open up like a brokerage account with FXCM at the time, and then place my first trade.
Like, you
How about you,
knew.
man? I wanna ask you, like, did you know? Did you know soon, or like, were you a little hesitant?
It was weird. It was a time we just got married back in 2016. We were young. We didn't have any like big direction. We just knew like, oh, we're gonna get married. We gotta throw a big celebration for our family and friends. As far as finances, it was like it wasn't really a well, it was a big thing, but it wasn't for us to like think about how to increase our income. We didn't really know about much about money. So anyway, it was funny. So prior to that point, I felt like our wedding was a pivotal moment. Prior to our wedding, me and my wife were like heavy into this stupid mobile game, right?
Yeah.
And we spent like 2 or 3 years on that game.
What
We
game was it?
invested. It was called Game of War, dude. It was on the on
Okay,
the
okay.
on your phone, and it was like one of those first mobile games that became big, and we spent thousands on that stupid game. It was just dumb, man. It was dumb. It took over our lives, man.
Damn.
So
Learning lesson, eh?
we knew like, okay, we have to cut the game off before we get married, because we knew that it was just going to be a very big conflict. So we cut it, moved on, got married, and then after that, I was like, you know what? Since like, okay, what do I do? I have all this free time, and it was funny. Like, I would always like something. A voice was always inside my head, like there's something more. There's something more beyond my current career. And so I even looked up like
What was your
e-commerce
career at the
stores.
time?
Well, I was a working at a dealership, working as a master tech, and I like numbers and I like technology. So I like was just browsing the internet, and I came across this one article. It was pretty long. It says it was by this lady. She was a professional trader, and something about making millions in the forex market. That's all I knew. And that headline got me to read, and I didn't understand anything. It was gibberish, but I was like, she's showing charts. It was all these lines. I'm like, dude, well, I don't know what this is, but it sounds interesting. One thing led to the other. It was a snowball. Um, Started going on YouTube. Then I found this guy Jack from Major League Trading, and enrolled into my first course by the end of that year, to start learning, because I'm like, dude, like this is something that people can do, and people are making lots of money. Freedom. I think the core for me was a freedom, man. And trading was a vehicle to provide that. So like, yeah, like that's kind of how I got into it. And then of course it evolved. I didn't actually open up my first Forex account until like 2 years
Wow,
after
very
learning.
patient,
Well,
very
because
patient.
I was just trading futures at the time.
Okay,
Yeah.
but you
Yeah.
learned a
But
lot through futures, right? So did you start trading futures first and then went into forex, or okay?
yeah, futures first. Futures
Okay.
first. And then I was technical analysis, right? So I took my the strategies. I'm like, dude, the Forex market looks the same. I was at first scared of the Forex market because that sucker was like volatile, right? It moved,
Yeah.
right?
So what you say you trade technicals? Like, what do you? Is that like news? Like, what do you mean?
So yeah, technicals, that means you use the information on the chart, whether it just be price, you have your own levels, resistance support, use certain tools, use indicators, you go back certain time frames. You don't you don't rely on the news as much. You don't make your decisions based on like the company's finances or their income, their announcements, right? Their quarterly announcements. You don't make decisions off of that. You make decisions
So
off
so
what
you're not trading off of like Elon Musk tweets or Donald
tweets.
Trump's tweets.
Right. I mean that they're saying you could turn that into an indicator, man. The Elon tweet
So wait,
indicator.
I would consider that fundamentals, though. Yeah, what
It
do you
would.
think? It
Yeah.
can't be technical. Yeah.
Yeah. That it's a yeah. Because one thing, a person says a certain word, people have 10 different meanings for it. So it's all
Interpretation, right?
discretionary, right?
I
Yeah.
think that's what's so awesome about the forex market specifically is Elon Musk could tweet and it won't affect the forex market. It's not going to affect the United States dollar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what's awesome about it. Maybe a president could affect the forex market a little bit, but it's not going to create massive bull runs or bull or bear runs. You know, it comes down to just a few small minor fundamentals, and then overall just technical trading. I feel like, but I mean, I teach their own, I guess. Yeah.
Oh yeah. There's so much it goes into the markets. You mentioned how tweets could possibly move it, but like, yeah, if you look at it as a whole, that tweet will be like a little blip in price. What is currency exchange?
It's a market that's the foreign exchange market is so awesome because it's open 24 hours a day, 5 days a week. And this was before crypto really took its hold, you know? So crypto is 24/7, which is
Yeah.
awesome, but still, it's still in its infancy, I believe. And with Forex, though, it's 24/5, which made me so stoked about it because, Hawaii time, I don't have to wake up 3 a.m., 4 a.m., and like we're trading till 10 or 11 a.m. in the morning, which is awesome for like a work day. But at the same time, like waking up at that time and then especially when we have work hours here in Hawaii, that's prime time right there, or a prime morning when everyone has to be at work or driving to work. So I think that's it's very it's lucrative. It's lucrative
Yeah.
that is 24/5,
Yeah.
and
And it
we're able to trade.
is it only one country that's holding the Forex exchange? Is it across multiple?
So yeah, that's another thing. Like crypto, it's decentralized. So like no one
Mm,
country could set the bar or set a standard. It has to be a collaborative effort across multiple countries if they want to actually change something, because this is the foreign exchange is the world market essentially. And and that's it's so awesome. There's 3 sessions. You got the Asian session with the Tokyo exchange. You got the London session, which is or excuse me, the Europe session, which is based off the London exchange, and then you finally have the North American session, which was the New York Stock Exchange. So there's 3 major exchanges, and then I mean we could Australia and New Zealand are also major exchanges, but that falls under the Asian session.
Yeah, especially for us Hawaii residents, right? I mean, like you mentioned, waking up 3 in the morning, that would be based on the New York Stock Exchange times because they are 6 hours ahead. But yeah, like we have the freedom, like you mentioned, to trade, after our work day, which is after 5 p.m., 6 p.m. And London or Asia market will be very active at the time, right?
Say you trade a certain market, or like a session, I would say, would you trade a certain session over other sessions, or is it kind of equal? Like how do you approach the market?
It's I felt at first I thought I was like, okay, I got to stick to the US New York Stock Exchange because we're in US, we have to trade US. But little do did I know, as I went on to my trading career, started realizing like, dude, the reason why a lot of people trade is so that they could create their own schedules. And for us, we are in a unique spot where we do see the closing of the New York Stock Exchange, and then we are able to also see the open of the other exchanges like London or Asia. And um, it goes back to what kind of lifestyle you want, what kind of schedule you want. Um, is it better for you to trade in the morning, or is it better for you to trade at night? It all depends. But for me, like I like to look at the charts at night rather than the morning. It takes me a while to wake up, so I tried the 3 a.m. thing, was not for me. So
Brain
I'm
is still
more,
waking up.
yeah, and I tell you, mistake after mistake, man. Making trades while half awake, terrible. I don't recommend it at all, man. You think you're awake, you have a couple shots of espresso, sitting at that chair, staring at the screen in the dark, man. Well, because everybody else in the house is sleeping. No bueno. So yeah, like it all goes back to being that it's 24 hours. The Forex market, you can go back to just when do you want to trade, right? When are you the most sharpest? Because that's what it takes. It takes the mental capacity, it takes the physical, it takes your focus, it takes emotional capacity to just be able to be around for the next few thousand trades.
So when we're talking about like forex, for stocks, Tesla stock is TSLA as a ticker. So
Mm.
does the foreign exchange have like a ticker, or like how do you go? Is it a company? Is it an exchange? Like how you actually trade the market?
Oh, that's great. That's great. So, being that it's a world market, we do have the different currencies that represent the different countries. So, for example, the US has their dollar, Japan has their yen currency, Australian dollar, euro for European countries. We got the New Zealand dollar, Swiss franc, Canadian dollar, Great Britain pound. So those are just a few of the major currencies that are used in the world, depending where you are. And so what the Forex exchange does is it takes your US dollar, we're US residents, and it compares it to, like, if you're traveling, right? You're going from here to London, you're going to need euros. So they take your US dollar, $1,000, you're going on vacation, take your the US dollar, convert it to euro, and then you get the whatever the current exchange rate is. So that's kind of how it works. It goes based off the market, and it will fluctuate day by day. And what those exchanges at the airports do, they kind of take their average or obituary. It just all depends on how they heard their business model is, but they totally rely on the forex market. And so yeah, like that's a popular pair, the euro to USD. Another popular pair that's actively traded is a USD to Japanese yen. And then we got the British pound to USD. And so those are just different things that are just some popular markets that are actively traded right now.
Yeah. So if you were to tell a new trader to, if I was interested in getting into the market, you would recommend just focus on one pair, the euro dollar or EUR slash USD. Would that be
Mm,
like a good start?
yes and no. My if I was to just tell somebody to start, I would just tell them to learn strictly about the market. Learn how to trade. You're gonna learn a lot about yourself as an individual. Your perspective about money will be changing for the better. um so it's a more self-development and changing your perspective rather than just focusing, oh yeah, I like euro dollar because it's my favorite pair, I'm just going to trade euro dollar the rest of my life and we'll be good. So my take is just look at the market as a whole, understand it, try to read and learn and talk to people who already been in there for years and learn from them. They're gonna bypass years of struggle, uh, stress, and help you just get to that point where you want to be faster.
So Glenn, you've traded the market for a little over 3 years now, Forex market specifically.
Mm, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
little over three
So
years now.
so a little over 3 years. But how about like market time in general? Because I feel like once you're kind of like when I jumped into stocks and then I transferred to the Forex market like within months after, um, I realized that like, oh, the market looks the same. It's just, different. There's more information in the Forex market. There's more candlesticks. It's easier to read. Um, so when you first like got into the futures market, were you able to apply that same like analysis or same lessons you learned in the futures to the Forex market?
I would say 85%, I was able to transfer. Um, I did have to go back and start relearning about how the execution of the forex market is, the different orders you can make, the different, we have this thing. Forex has a thing called lot size, right? Or they measure the movement of the price by, they call it a pip, and in the futures market they call it a tick. And so the pip represents, like, let's just take the what we have here. Oh, euro USD, right? 1 euro equals $1, 1 USD, 1.20 USD, right? So equals 1 euro. And so the pip goes back 4 decimal points, meaning we have 1.20. So uh, a pip would be 1.2001. And then from that movement, it goes it goes up one tick. So, or one pip. And so that's kind of how the forex market is measured, and that's something to like really learn. You got to understand it, because if you're trading the wrong lot size, you will blow your account, right?
Over risk.
Just understanding that whole structure of price of the pip and whatnot, right? So like
PIP
how do
stands
you,
for price in percentage, by the
bruh, I didn't even know that, dude.
way. Yeah, stands for price in percentage. And whatever that actually means, it just sounds like a funny acronym. I like to just say PIPs,
Yeah,
price in percentage. I guess like there's some mathematical formula to like actually deciphering that.
that's good. So like how did you understand, so you took the pip, well, like what other thing do you need to understand the forex market? Now that we talked about the pairs, we talked about the different markets, we started talking about pips. What kind of goes with that?
First thing that comes to my mind with pips is entering a trade. How many pips is your stop loss going to be at?
Yeah.
So like, you want to find a good range that's safe for your strategy. I've found that at one time, my stop loss was at between 15 to 25 pips. But with the market change, I had to adjust. and now my pips range anywhere between 30 on the low end, and then all the way up to, like, I was just going over my journal, it's 78 pips on one end. So it really just, especially like through a year like coronavirus, there's massive spreads. So we needed that room to breathe um, when during chaotic markets, and
Hmm.
so that's where like pips come into play. Um,
Yeah. And does something is there another component that affects your trading size, your pip allowance? So like you have your pips, but like what do those pips represent? Like,
oh, lot size. It's basically it's how much of the base currency in a unit you're exchanging. So like there's three different lot sizes. There's the standard, there's a mini, and there's the micro. So micro equals to 1,000 units of the base currency. There's a mini that equals 10,000 units of the base currency, and then the standard equals around like 100,000 units of base currency. So
hmm,
like if you take, let's say, euro dollar, for example, and you enter with a point 0.10 lot size, then your profit would be around 50 cents if it moved 5 pips.
mm,
So whereas like if you risk in it just one lot size, it will be around $1 per pip, which would equal $5 in profit. And so that's why that's, I believe, what draws a lot of new people to the forex market, because the leveraging or the lot sizes, you could really make a lot of money off of a very small account. But like you mentioned, man, like you're just prone to a lot more risk and blowing your account
yeah,
starting
yeah.
low.
What is the leverage? You mentioned leverage.
So yeah, leverage is like a lot of new traders. We don't have $100,000, let alone $10,000 coming in the market. Especially if you're a new trader, you're not gonna, and not knowing anything about the market, you're not gonna be like throwing loads of money into something you're unsure of. So what leverage does is it gives you that flexibility um, to of equity to trade. So like this allows a user, or like this allows a trader to trade up to 50 times larger than the balance you'd regularly invest. So it
Wow.
could be set between like a 10 to 1 or 100 to 1, depending on your specific broker, what the broker offers, and then also your risk appetite. Although like a good range is either 10 to 1 or 50 to 1. So meaning like a 10 to 1 leverage on a position requires only like 1/10 of the actual trade value. So like we're talking about like mini lots, micro lots, and standard lots. No one, you don't. A lot of people don't have $100,000 for a standard lot, and that's where like leverage helps you. But it, again, it also exposes the trader to a lot greater risk.
Yeah.
And with great risk comes great reward, but also the opposite is true, and it comes with great losses as well. So
Yeah.
that's why I like to see myself less as as we grow and we learn. We're less traders and more risk managers, professional risk managers, and I think that's a good mindset to have coming into this, because like everyone wants to trade, everyone wants to trade and make money, but if you're not properly risking, you're not going to be alive in the market for a very long time.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I totally agree with that whole view. That's good because my first year of trading, risk was not a word in my vocabulary, man. Like I only knew the basic of like risk, risk only less than 2%, right? Or 8 pips or whatever, right?
Yeah.
That's how far risk went for me. I didn't realize how important that whole idea plays into your account and growing your account,
I have a
and
question for you. Have you
what's up?
blown accounts?
Oh, bruh. I mean, yes, of course.
Same
Of
here, man. Same
course,
here. I've
right?
blown accounts. Have like $100 account, risk $98 of it just to try to see if I could make $1,000. Like, no, man, that's not the best way to go about this business.
You were kind of playing it like Vegas, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I was just straight up gambling. I had no plan, at least not written in stone. All I know is that if it hits this 15, I'm gonna sell this thing right now. But that wasn't a clear, concise plan. It was the beginning of forming a plan, but it wasn't necessarily set in stone. I didn't even write it down.
Did you get like some sort of high before when you're about to enter the market at that
Oh
time, you know?
yeah, absolutely. It's a druggy like feeling, man, like an addiction,
Adrenaline.
adrenaline rush. Yeah, yeah. So like as a learning over the years, what would you say about that, man? Like when that adrenaline picks up and comes in, is that like something we should avoid? Is it something that like what do you think about that?
Dude, um, for me, I felt like it was a process to get to a mental state where I'm at now from where I started. It was a hard process. It was a slow, hard process. Because essentially you're changing your perspective, your view on things. Because at the end of the day, like physically, what you're doing is you're looking at a screen and you're trading, making decisions based on the numbers you see. Simplify it, right? Put the money aside,
Simplified.
right?
Put the emotions aside. Everything
Dude,
straight
and
mechanical.
yeah, now that it's easy for us to say that, but now before it was like, I was itching for one, I was itching to get into a trade. Okay.
Be
I was
live in the
like,
market, right? Yeah.
no matter what market, I was like, okay, which one's moving? Which one do I see? Right. I was just trying to scan. Okay. Like I was like, I had money and it was like a hot potato. Like I had to give it, dish it out. Right. That's how I felt. And then finally, when I found a market to trade in, like a pair, I was like, okay, I see this. I did a few minutes of justifying why I need to be in the trade. And then I would jump in the trade, right? Set my stop loss while I was doing that. So I had this rush, this high to go get in. When I was doing that, when I was actually in the trade and watching the price fluctuate, since I had money in there, that was a roller coaster. You know what I mean?
Emotion, right? Yeah.
Yes, because
Roller
I'm
coaster
like,
of
oh, I'm in the green. Should I just take it? Should I
emotion.
just take it? Right? That word, no,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
line.
I've been there,
Or
man.
or be like, oh, I'm losing. I'm losing. Oh, I'm just gonna no, I should hold on. I should hold on, right? You're just fighting with your all these thoughts, millions of thoughts running through your brain at like 1,000 miles an hour while you're just watching price develop. And it's a big thing, dude. It's a lot for us to take in. Well, like we can care less if the house is burning down. We're in a damn position right now. Don't bother me.
Yeah,
um,
exactly.
so yeah, we're getting that stimulus, the emotional stimulus. You're getting the ups and downs, and then um, if you close a trade because you close it for a loss, it goes so many ways mentally after that because you'd be like, dude, oh, if only I did this, I should have done that. Um, start kicking yourself in the butt, or you can just lose it, be like, yeah, screw this trading stuff, dude. Like I just lost $100 in two
Completely give up.
minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you either give up, you're beating yourself up, you're going in a downward spiral, or one of the most dangerous ones is like, I can make them. I'll go chase them back. I can get them back.
Ooh, that greed, huh?
Oh, and like, like I got them next time. Let me go put 100 more in, right? And the market, you're like, all the stars are aligned for you, and you have every reason, you have that extra push to get back in because you're like, I'm gonna recover my money, so you throw more in. And it just eats you, man, because the market don't care how you feel at the end of the
Nope.
day. Right.
It's funny. You made me think of something like a trader could have 5 losses in a row, 10 losses in a row, and it could demoralize. Then you get one trade. It's not even big, but it's one winning trade. And you're like, I got this. I can make a full-time living. Like, like it just takes one. And it's a good and bad thing because holding on to those little wins though over the course of my trading career has helped me stay in this market. Just like experiencing many losses and almost feeling like I don't know if trading's for me. Maybe I just don't have the gift or the skill.
Hmm.
And then to actually having that one win after multiple losses, it's a really really emotional journey for sure. An inner journey because I could share with you with the world how I feel about a trade, but that's not going to change the way. It's not going to change my success rate
Yeah, no, I totally
unless I
agree.
change myself.
Yeah, and I don't know how it was for your journey to get to that point of real expecting the losses, right? Did you have that sort of false approach, or think that, like, you know what, I'm gonna win like 80%, 90% of the
Oh,
time
absolutely,
because so
absolutely,
and
and
so said.
yeah, what it's crazy because like these huge big like Warren Buffett, I think he mentioned he only wins like 30% of the time or something like that, or 40% of the time. Some crazy amount, but like Warren Buffett's just one example. There's hundreds of traders who are trading multi-million dollar funds, and their strike rate, meaning how often they actually win on a trade, is between 30 to 40%. And coming in as a newbie greeny forex trader, I always thought like I need to make more than 50%, 60%, and above, or else I'm not a good trader. And I,
Mm,
I think that really depends on who you learn from, like having a 30% strike rate, but having a 3-to-1 risk reward ratio, you're golden. Like you're good, you're a successful trader at that point. But a lot of new people like myself coming in, I always thought that percentage was, or how often you win was how good of a trader you were. So I mean, that's just one piece of the puzzle for sure. But
you mean if a new trader was to start, they won't be profitable every month?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a tough pill to swallow because our egos, our human instinct is to always be better, the best, and win. Because that survival of the fittest thing is like if that guy has 4%, I need to get 5%, and that'll make me a better trader or something like that. And I mean that breaks side topping into like comparing yourself to others. This is an individual journey, and I
Yeah,
think that's what a lot of people misinterpret. And so, yeah, you're gonna have these drawdowns of months, maybe even years, but it's continuing that process. It's a lifelong process of refinement, and just growing. And if the moment you stop growing is the moment you begin to fail.
that is right. That is right. That's good, man. Um, so I mean, let's we're on the topic of Forex. Do you, after all these years of trading Forex, is that still your preferred market to trade?
Oh, funnily enough, I just started doing crypto this year, 2021, and
Uh-huh.
because when I first heard of Bitcoin, I put like $400 in, and it went down like that following week. Media portrayed it as like it's not going anywhere, it's not the future, blah 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 blah. And then the all in hindsight, looking back, how much money I would be up. You know,
Mhm.
so coming back to it, is Forex the only market that I'm really focused on? I've learned as a trader to be diverse, and with the technology advancement of like prop fund trading, I've been able to reallocate a lot of my resources to different markets, like the stock market and the crypto market. But the forex is like my bread and butter, so I don't have to risk as much of my own personal money to um, the foreign exchange market. So crypto is creeping around there. I want a little bit more establishment in that scene before I could actually day trade it. How I do forex, but being funded is what will skyrocket everything. So, but speaking of funded, you're funded, right? So
Yeah.
how's that? how's life treating you as a funded trader?
So
How's the market treating
let's rewind to like my first year in trading. My coworker, he used to trade forex, and he was telling me all these different things, different paths that people take. And for me, he told me about the opportunity. If you're good enough, you can trade for a proprietary firm, trade for, yeah, a company. Essentially, they're going to give you money. You're going to be a risk manager for them. You're going to manage that account and hopefully make it grow, and you get a piece of the percentage. When I heard about that, I thought it was a freaking myth. Like he's talking about some unicorn kind, you know what I mean? Like I never knew anyone. For one, I didn't know anyone who's doing that personally. What you call, you don't really see that like out on social media really. And like I only thought Wall Street. If you got to be in New York, you got to work for a big firm, baller stuff, roll up in a Porsche, have the big watch. You know what I mean? You got to wear the
fit the
Gucci.
part?
Yeah, dude, you got to play the part. Like that's my thing, like Wolf of Wall Street kind of deal. Like that was my
Yeah, yeah.
uh perception of what those funded traders are. And so I'm like, whatever, I'll just do my own thing. Because I knew that trading was a thing that I will be doing long term. And I knew that I would be committed to it. I told my wife up front, like when I started the journey, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna play the long game here. Um, you might freak out because I might be losing X amount of money up front, in the first year or two, this and that. You might see me going psycho, might punch a computer monitor, those losses, right? I might be grouchy. So I gave her a heads up. And being that she's a super supportive wife, I mean, that's another conversation to have. Um,
Absolutely.
like I developed myself as a trader. I kept going, and then and it wasn't if it wasn't for you, bro. Like I wouldn't have even looked at the funded thing
I
because you
told
told me
you.
you were doing it, and you're gonna be the first guy
I
that.
told you, and then you ended up getting funded first. Right on, bro. Yeah, I'm loving it though. I love it. I love success. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. So I'm like, all right, if Reed gonna go do them, I'm gonna try. Let me see. Let me
Hell
see.
yeah.
So shout out to you for doing that. And we're here, man. It's been awesome. I felt like if I was to if someone was to hand me a funded account years ago, I would not be ready. Okay.
It's like, so I went to the bank to get $20,000 loan and I actually didn't have credit at the time. So I was really pissed. I walked out of the bank so mad. I was like, I want to do Forex. I want to, I know I can. And, that's where that ego is. I think the best traders are like, man, can I do this? Am I going to be able to do this? Like, you question that. But like coming in a hothead ego, I would have definitely owed the bank a shitload of money if I had gotten approved that day. So I'm so very thankful that I got the no right off the bat. But then also there was another time where like I had to actually build my credit in order to get like accounts. And then by the time I was like good with my credit, I was like, I'm not ready. No, I don't want to go back and get the $20,000 loan, man. Like that's I'm just gonna save. That was like my mindset.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. Things happen for a reason. They line up, man. Like for you to even think about doing that, like that must have took some courage, or you was just gung ho, was it?
I was just gung ho, man. Not even courage. I was like, F work, F this. Like, come on, babe, let's go down to the bank. And like, I was literally with Mary at the time, and we were sitting there together. And the lady is like, we're pulling up your records, and you don't have it. I'm like, and at the time, that's stuff they don't teach you right at school, and so it's like, I was like, I thought I was building credit with my debit card and stuff. So, anyways, it was a life
Uh,
lesson on how to build credit and what credit was, and at the same time, looking back now, I could be like, yo, dude, that was full on ego, that was full on greed, like, dude, imagine. But I was like, the more money I have, I know I could make it. Just give me more money, and then that's like, no, you got to prove yourself.
that's good. That's good. I mean, you kind of just describing your uh your course of development, bro. Coming in hot-headed, ego, and then humbling yourself a little more as time goes. Um,
The market humbled me, man. Definitely, the market
oh
humbled. I'm
yeah,
sure you can say the same, dude.
everyone. I mean, it humbles big guys too. The sharks, the whales out there. Lehman Brothers, right? It's a 2008, billions under management. Done, done. Well, it seemed like it was overnight kind of deal. It was like adding up. Um, but definitely that market don't care. They line them up and knock you out, man.
That's why you always gotta be learning and always perceptive of things. Can't get too comfortable. Enjoy your
Mhm.
wins, celebrate your wins, but don't get too comfortable because the next day you
It's
never know
good.
what happened.
As you wind down this conversation about Forex, man, I mean, what would you like if there's like top highlights or three things that you would tell new traders coming in about the Forex market? What would that be?
The initial thought is self-development. Like it's crazy. It's not even, I mean, it has something to do with the market. Don't get me wrong, but the first and foremost thing is self-development. Like that's all. I think the first 2 years, I was only looking at the market and money. And then I wasn't self-developing. So in 2015 is when I actually opened my first self-developmental book. And like this was after, I think the last time I read was like before that was like 2008 when I graduated high school. And I was like, dude, I need to read and self-develop because all these big traders do it. So self-development, um, when it comes to trading, risk management,
Mm,
or like risk management is everything. Um, and then self-development, and that ties into psychology. I'm a big proponent on like mindset, psychology, and self-development. They're kind of like they're three pillars, I guess. But then yeah, so yeah, they could all go together. But yeah, those self-development slash mindset and risk management are like my main thing.
that's
But
big, dude.
yeah, how about you, man? Same question, same question.
Same question. Three, what I would tell new traders coming in. I could agree with the self-development, I'll just sum up that whole thing, just learning, being a lifetime student, right? Don't let ego get the best of you and be like, I know everything about the markets. I've done this already. They always use that example of like you need 10,000 hours of doing something in order for you to be what they call it, a master or whatever at it, right? So self-development, just putting in the damn work. Put in the work. It will take time. um and FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. Like the market was there yesterday, was there 10 years ago, is here today, and it's going to be here for the next 50 100 years. There's going to be some sort of form of exchange. So when you hear all your friends talking about the Bitcoin wagon or the Forex or whatever, don't feel like you're missing out. Like the market will be there. And
Always opportunities, right? There's always
there will be,
opportunities.
exactly, there will be opportunities. Three, find your edge, you know, figure out how you can be profitable in the long game, and over time, and build your account and grow it and compound it. That's essentially it. Like if people were to just take those six things, they would be pretty good. They'd be pretty damn good. So
Yeah, we're on the
that's
same
good.
page. I totally agree. It's really hard to pinpoint three things you want to tell, but I think we both agree self-development slash
Yeah.
mindset
Yeah.
is the